Today we're going to be looking at the Breakout Pulse Expert Advisor by Mr. Guilherme here. This video is sponsored by our free Golden Time Bomb Expert Advisor. Take your trading to the next level through automating the London Breakout and the Opening Range Breakout. Click the link in the description to download the EA completely for free. So this looks like a classic breakout system, and it's trading many of the assets which are compatible for this. So gold, US 30, and US tech. And curious as to how he's put his own spin on it, because his live signal is actually incredibly impressive. So I'm curious as to what he's doing relative to some other bot users and developers who use this style of system, because it's pretty common. Like, it's one of the most classic, and it works very well, generally speaking. So yeah, just interested to see how he's put his own take on it. So what we can see here is that he's claiming that it does not use any sort of crazy fake manipulation techniques like enormous stop losses or grids or martingale, and it's just a good, honest system that trades a real trading strategy, which I would definitely agree with and is usually the best approach to take. He's also mentioning that you need to use a very good broker like Fusion Markets, IC Trading, or any ECN broker. And I would completely agree, because the big issue with this style of scalping system, and the reason why I do make these bots as well, but I don't trade them with a tremendous amount of capital, is because you usually have some slippage and spread impacts as soon as you start trying to scale this. But a lot of people love scalpers. People like to trade a lot, and they like high trade frequency. And this will, generally speaking, enable you to get that to work. So here he's showing a backtest with essentially an optimization period, profitable in the past, and a go-forward optimization. This is definitely best practice when developing any sort of bot. You never want to optimize on the entire data set, because that's usually a recipe for overfitting and disaster. So showing in-sample, out-of-sample testing shows that he understands the fundamentals behind good bot or any sort of model development, generally speaking. And so far looking pretty good here. We're not getting a tremendous amount of information about the exact breakout that he's using, but I'm sure we can ascertain that in the backtest. Usually the most classic ones here, like supply and demand zones, or local high, local lows, or time-based breakouts. So my ultimate time bomb EA is just a time-based breakout. You place a caller at a high and low before market open, but different developers take different takes on this. Wim, with all of his ultimate breakout system, etc., he tends to use zones where he stacks orders in a zone at a supply or demand point. But there's lots of ways of doing this. There's various takes on it, but fundamentally it's the same premise of you're looking for a high volatility asset or a high volatility time. You're looking for a punch through a level, and usually a tight trailing stop loss to get profits. And all of these strategies usually kind of fall in that general family, but they work and they're very good. So what really drew me to this is that this is a crazy impressive actual live equity curve, and it's on a real broker. It's on Fusion Markets. We can see is that it's so far showing really high returns. The returns, I would take this with a grain of salt because he's using a lot of leverage, but the fact that he's able to get these returns without getting tremendous drawdowns is actually really impressive. And if we can see here, there's taking losses, he's taking losses and he's taking winners, and he's trading a bunch of different classic breakout pairs, so like NASDAQ, US 30, USD yen. And this equity curve really demonstrates the benefits of diversification. If you were just trading one pair, you wouldn't get this level of smoothness. But the fact that you can trade it on multiple pairs is what's giving these results. One of the reasons why Ultimate Time Bomb also trades multiple pairs, because you typically can smooth your equity curve quite a bit through that. And what's really interesting as well is we're actually seeing a very good win rate with a positive risk reward. So that is exceptional. And I'm almost a bit suspicious because it's so good. So I'd be curious to see how he's actually achieving this, because getting a 70% win rate with a positive expected value and a positive risk reward, and at the same time having a very large sample size, that's pretty crazy. So maybe he's only going long. Let's see that. Are we seeing longs versus shorts? Nope, there's a pretty good distribution here. He's taking both. Yeah, so far the signal itself looks very, very impressive. The only caveat here is he's using a tiny amount of money. So maybe he had launched multiple signals, but from what I can see, it's 100% algo trading. it's trading a real strategy and it's looking really, really good. I'm just kind of always naturally skeptical, so always good to kind of see like what could he be doing to make it look this good, because that's just such a massive edge. I'd be curious as to what exactly he's doing. But let's run ourselves a backtest here to see if we can ascertain something. So we're seeing that he is indeed, I ran a backtest with default settings on gold. He does share multiple set files, so most likely the results live would be quite a bit better than this because you'd be using a different type of set file. And the one thing I'm seeing is that it's trading just an absolutely massive amount. Like some of them are very small trades, some are big trades. Sometimes he's taking even more of a trend following approach, like he's taking quite a large TP. And if we actually scroll through the deals, we're not seeing any particular time-based breakout, right? We're seeing some that happen at 2 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, at 14 o'clock. So there's a lot of variability there. And if we scroll to the most recent ones, it's trading a ton. So I'm not so sure if this is just because of this is the default settings and you have to turn some of the trades off. But it is interesting, but the backtest, like the quality of the backtest is not matching the quality of the live signal. This is one of the few where like the live signal is vastly better than the backtest. So I venture it's because you need to use a whole variety of different set files for this to work to its maximum capabilities. But let's run ourselves a visual backtest here to see if we can ascertain anything else. I think there's a time-based element to it because he is saying that there's a GMT offset, and that's important. So perhaps he's also like he does have some time filters in the input settings, so maybe that's something he's looking at. He's using the ATR here in order to set his levels, and he's also using a few EMAs. So there's a few different indicators going on too. Each trade goes in with a TP and a stop loss and a tight trailing stop loss. Yes, like he's very quickly trailing once he goes into profit. Performed, market buy. Okay. Let's just, or maybe he's not trailing actually. Maybe it's more of a static stop loss. Let me just pause this to double check. Operations, we're not seeing a trail. That's interesting. Stop loss triggered, or sometimes maybe perhaps it's trailing, but it's not always trailing. That could be another impact here too. Let's run a quick one with 1 minute open, high, low, close to see what's going on. And if we just go through here, through deals in the back test, we can see that usually when he's winning, he's hitting a TP. He's not hitting a stop loss. So that would usually be an indication of a positive of actually using a TP and not using a trailing stop loss. Okay, so this is a very interesting system. Like, it's a little bit different than your classic style of like breakout bot. The risk reward seems rather positive, and the results in the live signal are just extremely impressive. So from what I can see so far, it looks like there's definitely a real strategy here. This gentleman seems to really know what he's doing, and he's giving some good results to people. I'm still a little bit skeptical, just like kind of because both the win rate is so high, like 70% with a positive risk reward. That just seems really, really good to me. But it could just be a fantastic system, right? So you shouldn't fault people for that. I might just want to kind of get to know the guy a bit better if you are looking at buying the bot and answering some, like chatting with him to see kind of his rationale and his reasoning behind it. But it looks to be a classic breakout system. The statistics are really good. There's definitely a strategy here, but still always a little bit skeptical. But looks like a solid bot, classic breakout system. And to get the performance that's needed, getting using the set files would be critical. Because also a criticism I would have is that it's trading a bit too much at the moment. So most likely you need to turn some settings on, some settings off. So overall, very interesting, worth taking a second look into. And yeah, let me guys let me know what you think. If you saw something else, if I'm missing something, always good to get your feedback. Take care and have a great day.